Okay, so we got this basketball player. He is 2 meters tall, and he's standing 10 meters from the basket. So he shoots the ball at a 40-degree angle. So the initial velocity of the ball is this way. So V initial is at 40 degrees, and we don't know what it is. And what else do we have? The height of the basket is 3.05 meters. So look, right away, to simplify this problem, here's what you want to do. I'm going to put a line right here. So that the basketball player is 2 meters tall, and the height of the basket is 3.05. So what is the vertical height that we really care about? The vertical height that we care about is the difference, right? 1.05 meters. Okay, so we're going to consider, basically it's kind of like a soccer ball. Pretend, instead of a basketball, just pretend this is like a soccer ball being kicked on a field, and the end point is 1.05 meters higher. Does that make sense? It simplifies it. Okay, the thing we're solving for is the initial velocity of the basketball. Is the initial velocity, is it perfectly x? No. Is it perfectly y? No. It's at an angle. Now the key for projectile motion, or really for all parts of physics from here, not just this chapter, but for future chapters, you need to separate the x direction from the y direction. So this is a trickier problem. This is trickier because the quantity we're looking for is x and y. So let's draw in the components of that initial velocity. So this right here would be Vx initial, and then this right here would be Vy initial. Okay, so Vx initial is going to be cosine 40 times V initial. Vy initial is going to be sine 40 V initial. Okay, so what we have to do to solve this problem is we're going to have to write an equation for the x direction, write an equation for the y direction, and substitute those equations together. So the algebra gets a little bit intense, but not too bad. Oh, and one thing you're going to have to know for this problem, one thing you got to know is what sine over cosine is, because that's going to be key to simplifying things. What is sine theta over cosine theta? That's the same as tangent theta. Hey, you're going to come across this in future chapters. Sine over cosine is tangent. That's a pretty common simplification that's going to be helpful. So if you didn't remember this from math class, I would, remember it or know it. All right, so for the x direction, there's only one equation for the x direction because the x acceleration is 0. So the only x equation is x equals vx times t. But what is vx? Vx is cosine 40 v initial. So Vx is cosine 40 v initial times t. So this right here is our x equation. Our y equation, the first kinematic is the one I always look to first. It's the most commonly used kinematic. Y equals 1/2 gt squared plus Vy initial t. Now, what is Vy initial? Sine 40 V initial. And then we're going to substitute in t. Oh, so take this equation here. T equals x over cosine 40 V initial. We're going to take this and plug it in there and there. We're plugging in for t. So now we have y equals 1/2 g. T is x over cosine 40 v initial squared, right, because t is squared, plus, okay, now Vy initial. Vy initial is sine 40 v initial. That's Vy initial. And then t is x over cosine 40 v initial. All right, so that's like the worst part. From here, it's going to get a little easier. Okay, what do you notice about this V initial here and this V initial here? They cancel. The V initials cancel. And then notice we have sine over cosine. Okay, so now this is going to be y equals, I'm going to clean this up. This is going to be gx squared over 2 cosine 40 squared V initial squared plus tangent 40 x. All right, guys, in this equation that I just put a box around, the only thing that we don't know is what? There's only one thing missing. V initial. Okay. Shh. The only thing we don't know is V initial. Now, normally I say don't plug numbers in until you've done the algebra. I think this qualifies as an exception to that rule. I mean, I think it would make things easier here significantly. Here, I'm going to make some more room. It's going to make things a lot nicer if we plug our numbers in now. You know what I'm saying? So, let's plug numbers in. What's this y here? Y is what? 1.05. You know what? I'm going to be ultra bad. I'm going to leave units off just to make this... Dude, I'm going to get fired. 1.05 is our y. Okay, g is negative 9.8. Don't forget your sign convention. X is 10 meters. Oop, leave units off. All the units are good. 10 squared. 2 cosine 40 squared. V initial squared plus tangent 40 times 10. Okay? So what this simplifies down to is we end up getting 1.05 equals negative 8.35 over V initial squared plus 8.391. So then you take this and solve it for V initial. So when you do the algebra, you get V initial squared equals 113.76. Then square root both sides, and you get V initial as about, I rounded it to 10.7. All right, that's about as hard as the algebra gets in this class. AP Physics B, you know, I always say your math skills are way better than my math skills. That math, just the algebra involved, like, you know, plugging in, and I mean, there's a lot of places where you could go wrong, but you know, don't panic. This is definitely the most complex math that we're going to see. Yo.
Is this going to be on the external question? Going to be on the quiz?
This would not be a quiz question. I could put this on the free response, like something where I'm going to grade your work and see what you're doing. This would be a free response question, like on the midterm. On the quiz, I wouldn't put this on the quiz because the quiz is multiple choice and it's all or nothing. So if you forgot, for example, like look, if you forgot this negative, you're done. You're going to get the wrong answer. There's too many places to go wrong, so I would not consider this a quiz question. Yo.
Every time I like plug in the numbers, I get 835 for the top.
Let's see. Oh, do you want to know why you got 835? Yeah. Because it is 835. That's, yeah, hey, correction here. Oops, this right here, not 8.35. That's 835. Thank you. 835. Yep. Okay.